Well, hello students, and tonight I'd like to talk about the new video section of the book in our textbook, and this is about Joan Jonas. But actually I want to talk a little bit about video cameras, that they came into being in the mid-60s. We've talked about Andy Warhol and Bruce Nauman, and we've seen some of Naumann's work in our textbook. Really, very strange. But these were the artists who utilized the video cam. And one artist that is featured in our textbook is Joan Jonas. She used video to enhance her performance works in the 1970s. Now, she was already doing performance work, but decided to use the video camera to enhance it. It was cool how a second video camera was used and pointed towards the monitor so that you would get another display of the video. So the camera also picked up reflections of the room, and that added to the performance mystique in a way. She was already known as a performance artist, as I said, in the 1960s, but she was encouraged to be an artist as a child, which is neat because she had a creative family. Her aunt was a painter, and her stepfather was a jazz musician and also a magician. All right, that's pretty neat, and that's what happens when you're born in New York City. She also was the second woman. I want to go back to the piece called Glass Puzzle. So there was another woman with her. I forgot to say this. There was another woman with her by the name of Lois Lane, and it was bizarre because they were both dressed in like white satin slips, and they didn't say anything, and it was just kind of like strange movements in a way. But this is a type of art that was going over back then. And her education, she graduated with a bachelor's degree from Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts, which is known as a feminist mecca. Still today, many feminists have come out from that educational experience in Mount Holyoke. So she got her bachelor's degree in art history and sculpture, and then went for her Master of Fine Arts at Columbia University in New York City. Both are very scholarly colleges. She got married, and she traveled the world with her husband, I mean all over the place, and they were married for 5 years, but as some marriages happen, they divorced. But she never married again. I guess you could say she was married to her art. So she went back to New York, and she got immersed in the art scene there. She did live performances, and this is something I felt very unique. She destroyed all her sculptures. So all of her sculpture pieces, she just threw out and destroyed them, because she was going to devote her life to performance art. And in her performances, she kind of merged dance techniques, theater, and props, different stage props, things like that, or even whether it be like, I don't know, shopping carts or whatever props you might use. And also what influenced her work, she drew on things that she had seen overseas or in Europe, wherever, to use them in her artwork. So she was really pretty neat, utilizing the thoughts and ideas and scenes and things that she had seen around the world. In the 70s, she gained notoriety then as a video artist, and pushed beyond social, political, and personal boundaries. The one artist that we've already seen with the two nudes and the person trying to get through at the art museum, well, she influenced that woman, Marnia Abramovic. So she influenced her. And so you can see how I keep saying bizarre, but see how unique they took their work to be, and they were serious about this. So I hope, I want to go on to Judy Chicago, I hope you all got to see the video on YouTube about Judy Chicago. She's a very, unique to herself, too, important artist. It was called I'm the Artist and the Troublemaker. I saw that few years ago, but very, very interesting to see that. In our textbook, it features the dinner party. Now, this was her work in 1979. This is on page 528 if you're following the textbook. It took over 100 women and men to help complete this work. So that's called a collaboration. And this triangle, as you see in the picture, was quite huge. It was enormous. And there were 39 place settings for influential women that she thought were influential in history's time, from, I think, Artisma Gentileschi was there, and probably even Mary Cassatt. But she also had on the floor, it was written over 999 names also of other women who she really felt were influential. So it's a monumental piece. And to downplay it, you can't downplay it because it is so monumental, and all the care that was taken to do it. She impacted women's art, well, really feminist art too, of how women would come to be accepted in the art world, and especially in art museums. Still today, I don't know if you read this in the papers, it has been in the news that the Baltimore Museum of Art, for this year, they've only been accepting women artists to their museum. And I know this for a fact because the artist that I trained under in my Master of Fine Arts, MFA, class at Wilson College in Chambersburg, he tried to get some work in there, but it was only for women. So that has been a political, I shouldn't say faux pas, but it's been a political issue amongst other scholars in the art world. But I think it's fine to do because there's really only 10% of women artists in art museums. And we still have a lot to do as far as women artists go. Chicago helped women and other diverse groups, to gain ground in the art museums. And those groups can thank her and this feminist movement that propelled social and political norms to the forefront of society. Very important. Feminist artworks revolved around equal rights, there we go, equal rights and equal pay. It still revolves around things like that today, too. Art historian Linda Nochlin in 1971 wrote an article entitled, "Why Have There Been No Great Women Artists?" And that sort of summed it up, and that's what we're still facing today. if there's only 10% of women artists in art museums, it's a pretty slim estimation of creativity. Next one I want to move on to is Miriam Schapiro. Now, she was a contemporary and a collaborative artist who was a friend also of Judy Chicago. And she is known as one of the leaders of the feminist movement. And with Judy Chicago, she did some very important things. She founded the first feminist art program at the California Institute of the Arts. That was in 1971. In 1979, she founded the New York Feminist Art Institute, which entailed workshops and lectures. And this was in New York City. And so in 1979, she did that. Her background, born in Canada in 1923 to Russian Jewish parents. She was an only child, and she started drawing at age 6. So both of her parents, one I think was an artist, but I know he was an intellectual type. Both of her parents supported her dream to become an artist. Again, she studied at a very important place, the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. She received a bachelor's degree in 1945, a master's degree. This is kind of how artists go ahead and usually move up in stature and status. Master's in 1946 and a Master of Fine Arts in 1949. See, I just had the BA bachelor's degree and then I skipped the master's and I went right to the Master of Fine Arts. I was pretty lucky, I guess. In 1955, she became a full-fledged professional artist. Now, professional is a term that some people think that you're a professional, you have to sell something for money. That's it. You have to make money on what you're doing. I tend to look at professional as being proficient in your field. So there's different ways of saying professional and professional artist. She was inspired by abstract expressionists, and we've talked about abstract expressionist painters before. But her style created a different way. She made a different way of painting called hard edge. Hard edge, very geometric, very straight, very cutting. Cutting edges, like. And she was one of the first artists to use a computer. So, today everybody uses computer techniques to enhance their artwork. She was one of the first to do that. And one of her best known artworks is the Ox, O-X. It's it's in the attachments that I've sent. It's like this X with an O, and Judy Chicago called it a central core image. And they both looked at it as a symbol of the body, of a woman's body. But that was something that feminist art did display and did illustrate in that way. And I've gone really fast through this tonight. There aren't that many notes because I wanted to concentrate on these women, though. It was only a page or two to go over. But their relevance in the art world is heavy duty. I know I use that word heavy duty, but they're really phenomenal when you think about it for women artists and what they've done to get women into the art field and women to be appreciated as artists. So I wanted to share all this with you, and I know I went through it fast, but hopefully you've seen the video on Judy Chicago and you've seen the attachments, and I will have questions for you. So take care, still stay safe, and be well, okay? All right, thank you.